back to Naturally Lit with Kate and Belay. And today, what I want to talk about is how I almost ruined my relationship. And what I mean by that is a lot of times I would say a lot of times in relationships, we think that we think that our partner can't do better, right? And I want y'all to know that is completely wrong, and it's very ignorant for you to think like that. And why I say that is because we have experienced poly together, and we don't really talk about it too much, but just to say that me and my partner have dated women together, and we have been in a situation where we've been dating a consistent woman. And with that, when you've been together with someone for so long, you guys have like that puppy love. You guys are like, maybe you're never arguing, maybe you guys just get each other, you love being around each other. You don't have a perspective of anything negative about that person because you're still getting to know them. You don't really know their flaws. There's still so much. They're like a mystery. But when you've been with your partner for years, they sometimes become like not necessarily a mystery anymore, because you're like, okay, I probably know you now better than you know yourself. So where I meant that some people can come in and probably treat your spouse better is because sometimes, especially if we're just talking about from a woman and man perspective of a relationship, men are actually very simple. There's not a lot that they require in a relationship. They do want their women to look good and smell good. You should want to look good and smell good. So they do really enjoy that. So as long as you keep yourself up, keep your hair nice, keep your skin nice, keep your body nice, like smell good. Make sure you always put on that outfit where it's like, ooh, you put that on today. Like, always continue to do that. Those are things that our partners really, really do enjoy. But outside of that, as long as you are respecting your partner and as long as you are supporting your partner, a lot of times, most of the stuff that a man requires in a relationship really mostly comes down to respect and support. Support meaning that if he says, hey, I think that we need these, or no, hey, we gotta get this car part because we're getting ready to go out of town. These are the things that we need to get done. They don't want to know, oh, why do we need to do that? Or, hey, is that necessary? If you're with a man, and a man that has healed and worked on himself, that knows his vision and his purpose in the life, a lot of times when you're with your partner, you should be able to trust what they say. And I know one way I almost ruined my relationship is because I was very combative. Meaning, if my partner would say something, I've always had something to say back. It doesn't matter if it was, hey, like I just said, we're getting ready to go out of town, we need to get this done. Oh, well, can we just get these two things done? He said, no, we gotta go out of town, I need to get these done, these particular items done. And I would just for some reason, I have something to say. I've always had to get the last word, and I always had to have something to say. That was a flaw in myself, because that means I'm not even listening to understand if I got to get the last word. Now, I am still actively working on it, but the reason why I'm still actively in a relationship to this day is because these are steps that I became aware of. My partner, we have had those uncomfortable conversations on things that I need to do to work on myself, and things that, he may need to do to work on himself, to just make our relationship and us as a unit even better individually and together. Because if we're both good individually, it's just going to be, that's where the power couples come into play. People think power couples are just, they're so cute and they just, do all this stuff together, or maybe they have this business and this person has that business and they bring their business together and that makes them a power couple. There's so many things that go into a powerful couple. Being able to communicate in uncomfortable conversations is a powerful couple. And a lot of times people can't even say, oh, y'all are a power couple, because y'all have never seen them. Y'all, they're still together and you know a little bit about them, but what do you really know when it's behind closed doors? That's what makes somebody a powerful couple, is when they're able to have uncomfortable conversations. You're going to do something that your partner doesn't like, or maybe one day your partner is going to have an uncomfortable conversation no matter what it is. Maybe it's the way you've been, the person you're changing into. Maybe it's the mindset that you have. Maybe it's the mentality that you're gaining. Whatever the case may be, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations. And sometimes in relationships, people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to communicate. So I've I've always was able to communicate with my partner, but I didn't always know how to communicate. So one thing that almost ruined my relationship was being combative, meaning that always having something to say. Another thing that almost ruined my relationship was being a was what did I just say? Was being combative, and I was just talking about it, but I literally just lost my train of thought of what I was saying. Communication. We're talking about communication. So not being able to communicate effectively. So there will be certain words that I would say where you always do this or you never do that. When you say always and never, they're putting it as if I just bought you flowers yesterday, but I didn't buy you, if I just bought flowers 2 months ago, but I haven't bought flowers in 2 months, you're saying, oh, you never buy me flowers, but I just bought you flowers 2 months ago. You make them feel bad. So you're tearing them down because they're like, oh, you never do that. Or you always do this. You always leave the seat up. But there's this couple times where they're mindfully not leaving the seat up because you're saying always. And a lot of times us as women, we can talk to our partner as if they're our kids. And that's not showing respect. So that goes back into respect what the person is saying and support what they're in their decision. So if you're a person and you trust them and they're like, hey, I say, hey, we need to do this, or hey, this would be a good decision. If you married that person or you trust that, especially if you married them, I'm gonna talk about married. I'm married. So if I married this man, why did I marry him if I don't trust him to lead me in a certain way? I shouldn't have married him. I should have dated him. And then if it got to the point where, oh, I can't trust you and I don't trust you to lead, then he's not the person for me. And a lot of times we get wrapped up in just having somebody and wanting somebody around and wanting the companionship that we'll be so quick to force marriage or children or something on someone. And that's why divorce rates are also high, because a lot of people aren't compatible and really don't even know what they want. And they're thinking they're going to find what they want in a relationship when it's like, no, find what you want with yourself. And that's only going to take as long as it's going to take. However long that's going to take as far as finding yourself is on the work and due diligence that you're taking. Me personally, with us being together 12 years, obviously we met at 19, so we didn't have everything figured out. We were still finding ourselves. So there are relationships where you can meet young and not have it figured out, but it all depends on the people individually. Me and him are really compatible. So because we're really compatible and we almost think alike and we have pretty much similar goals and ambition and mindset at that young age, that's honestly what's the key factor. And us being friends is honestly one of the key factors that was able to keep us in a healthy relationship this long. And we both understand that excuse me. We both understand that we're gonna grow older and we're going to evolve, and we have to learn to let that person be them and grow into the person they're going to be, as long as the person's always trying to better themselves. So yeah, so being combative, that's something almost ruined my relationship. Not being able to communicate effectively, using words like always and never, and then also yelling. Like Ethan, if I'm I talk fast, as you guys can probably even see here, and I've been talking fast my whole life. So sometimes I'll catch myself because I'll hear how fast I'm talking, and I'll try to slow it down, like kind of like what I'm trying to do now. Like I'm trying to like bring it back, slow it down, decrease my volume a little bit, because it seems like I'm escalated and I'm hype, but I'm really just passionate about what I'm talking. But me and Ethan, our communication styles were different. I can talk to some people how I was saying, just like not being hype and yelling at them, but just talking fast and louder. Some people understand that. Some people want me to get to my point and get it out, and we do great. Some people, it takes them a little longer before they get to their point, because they're internalizing everything as they're thinking. So for some people in relationships, you have to really know your partner and how to communicate with them, because effective communicating is very important, and you can take a lot of skills and learn across the board. But then it even gets even more in depth when you have to understand who you're communicating to, because everyone doesn't understand your dialogue the way you may think they should. So with that, with Ethan, when I'm trying to have a conversation with him, he listens to my tone. So I have to really work and put emphasis on the type of tone that I'm using and how fast I'm talking. And that's how I can better communicate to my husband. And with me doing that, I've been able to get things through to him. Some people are like, I can't get anything through the person. Yeah, because the way you're communicating. If they were to communicate to you how you're probably communicating to them, and that's not the way that you can internalize what they're saying, then yeah, they probably wouldn't get through to you either. So definitely working on communication and how you're talking to your partner, giving them the respect that they deserve and that they should have as your partner, especially if they're the man of the house, or if you're putting them in that role. Men are really simple. So yeah, that was one thing. And then going back into what I talked about earlier,